And hello again, this is ModelOmega, and you're watching Chapter 7 of Thracia 776. With the overwhelming pain of failure lying heavy in his heart, Leif fled Manster, accompanied by several members of the Magi group. However, danger was still with them. Bounty hunters were after the reward placed on Leif, and the Manster army was gaining on him from behind. Lord Leif, the Manster army is gaining on us. What should we do? We have two choices. We can either head west into the mountains to shake them off, or we can continue on southward towards Castle Mies. Either way, we will probably have to request aid from Thracia. Aid? From Thracia? But Thracia ruined my country and killed my parents. I have no intention of asking them for help. Do you intend to put your allies in danger just because of your own selfishness? You must understand that we are not fighting to avenge your country or family. We have stood up to liberate northern Thracia from the Empire. Well, yes, but can we even trust Thracia? They're allied with the Empire. I am sure that they would stand up once they see their borders being invaded. Also, General Hannibal resides in Castle Mies. He is a respectable warrior known as the Shield of Thracia. I am certain he would help us if we tell him that we have escaped from Rydric of Manster. Okay, then let's head for Castle Mies. We can go to Tara later. Tara? I've heard that the Imperial Army has surrounded Tara because it openly opposed them taking their children. It would be suicide to go there with our small forces. Tara is like a second home to me. The Duke of Tara, he died protecting me from the Empire. I also have a lot of friends there. I have to save Tara, August. Very well, we shall discuss that later. For now, we must escape. What's all this noise about? Looks like someone raised hell in Manster. And if the rumors are true, that someone is a kid named Leif, one of the last surviving heirs of Leinster. There's a huge bounty on his neck as well. We've got a nice one for a change. So, this is an otherwise extremely hard chapter that I am going to completely cheese because I don't want to have to reset this 15 times because of the absolutely insane requirements that you need to both beat this chapter and recruit an ally in this area. See, there's a trick you can do in this chapter that makes completing it a hell of a lot easier. Do you see that little bush past where Hicks is? Have someone wait there. On the second turn, Rydric appears along with a boss for this chapter, Eisenhow. If you have him stand on that bush, Eisenhow doesn't turn up, and there's only one set of reinforcements that appear. If you don't do this, not only do you have to deal with Eisenhow, you also have to deal with, I don't know, like 20 social knights coming after you, each of them armed with rapiers and javelins. Yeah, that'll have you resetting a lot taking those guys out, because the rapiers are super effective against your cavalry. You could maybe go to the left down the mountains, because the knights won't be able to follow you, but it also means you have to deal with a huge amount of archers and warriors there, all of them having poisoned weapons. There's even a berserker there. Yeah, don't go that way. Do this and go south. It's much easier. And truth be told, I would probably not recommend that you cheese this chapter if it wasn't for the fact that there's an ally you can recruit here. It's Shiva. Yeah, remember him from Chapter 2X? He appears here, and you can recruit him. But not with, say, Leif. No, you have to have Seifi talk to him. And she appears along with Finn after this turn. The thing is, those guys keep going up, and Finn and Seifi appear near the bottom of the map, so getting them up there to talk to him is insane. Trying to do that while you have a huge amount of reinforcements is even more insane. Welcome back, General Hannibal. I see some people have been thrown into the dungeon. Did something happen while I was gone? Yes, there were some suspicious figures lurking around the area, so we captured them. They're probably bandits from the outskirts to the east. I see. What are they saying? They keep claiming that they are simple villagers. But from the way that they talk, I can only suspect that they're brigands of some sort. Also, there was a knight among them, but he managed to escape. We are currently searching the area for him. Alright, I'll talk to them myself later. Most importantly, something is boiling up in Manster. That Rydrick might be scheming something. Be on your guard. Yes, sir. Is Lord Leaf safe? I must go find him. I must be off. You may return to the city now. Sir Finn, am I just a hindrance after all? No, that's not it. I appreciate your offer to help, but I'm not sure if I can protect you or not. When I left Tara, I swore to the war god Hive that I would not fear death as long as I could help the savior of my town. You need not worry about me. If I could be of any assistance to you, then please take me along. Very well, if you insist. In any case, we must get going. We need to find the prince before sunset. Hey, those are a couple familiar faces. We finally get Finn and Safety back. Isn't that nice? You're gonna want him go down south and around, and not through this massive amount of soldiers. Remember to keep Finn dismounted, because you won't be able to pass the mountains while he's on a horse. By the way, your best bet is to have Karen visit these two houses on your way down. You could actually just skip these and come back after you've dealt with all the enemies you want to, but this just saves me a bunch of time, and Karen can get by really quickly to help with all the mercenaries anyway. One of the villages contains an antidote, which cures poison, and the other has yet another knight's proof. Like I said, you get tons of these in the next few chapters, but don't go splurging on them. In addition to Shiva, who you can recruit, this group of mercenaries has a bunch of stuff that you should try capturing. A couple of them have just plain iron swords, but a couple also have iron claymores, which, well, maybe not great, sell really well. One has an extra kill edge, which you really want, and another has a silver sword. So overall really great stuff, and you can capture these guys pretty easily with Fergus and the Brave Sword. Huh, by the way, in about 10 or 15 seconds, you're about to see Rydrick talk to a person that's not there. It's going to be pretty funny. Yep, just have someone wait there, preferably Hicks, he's in the best position, and then this will happen. The rebels are on foot. They won't be able to go far. Eisenhower, I want you to take your troops and chase after them on horseback. You must get rid of them before they reach Castle Mies. Yes, my lord, but Thracia is allied with us. Would they really head for Castle Mies at all? The Empire and Thracia are allied, but we are not on good terms with each other. In fact, we're on bad terms. If there's anyone with half a brain among the rebels, he would take advantage of the situation. Ah, I see. Anyway, if we can catch them before they reach the castle, we won't have to deal with Thracia at all. And one more thing. Hannibal most likely has his armored infantry stationed around the castle. Whatever you do, don't get into a fight with them. Understood? Yes, my lord. So, if you prevent Eisenhower from appearing, the only reinforcements you have to deal with are those 3 cavaliers. If you let him appear, you'll have to deal with 3 more of those cavaliers, the same build, every 3 turns, and then eventually you'll have to deal with stuff like bishops, sword armors, soldiers, a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to deal with. I really recommend that you take this option. And don't view it as losing EXP, because, I mean, even if you're worried about EXP, there's actually an arena on this chapter if you want to get some, but I don't use it in this particular run. These rapiers could actually do a great deal of damage to Hicks. Hopefully he can live through the initial assault and get out of there. Just make sure he doesn't have the halberd equipped. If Hicks hasn't gained any speed, then these cavaliers with their rapiers will actually double hit him and probably kill him in all regards. Once it's your turn again, make sure you move Hicks out of there as fast as you can. And make sure before you send him there in the first place that he's at least holding 1 vulnerary so he can heal himself if he loses enough HP. Once he's down there with the rest of your guys, you can form a blockade with about 2 units. Usually just Hicks and maybe Makua. She can probably handle it. You can have Asphal and Leafus take these guys out without too much regard. In fact, Leafus can even steal the rapiers, because even his base build is enough to take them since they weigh so little. So I'm going to be clear on this part. Recruiting Shiva is basically all luck. He has a kill edge, good speed, and a PCC of 4. If he decides to, he could probably double hit and kill any one of your units that has less than 8 attack speed. Especially poor Dawson. I tried to use him to hold these guys up and he paid for it. Your best bet is to corner him with Karen, Fergus, and maybe Leaf. In fact, if you can get him to a spot where you can block him with only 2 people, which is what I end up doing, that's your best bet there. Man, sometimes it can be a pain to try and capture these guys when your units decide to go all Rambo and kill them anyway, but luckily that second continue hit missed. Anyway, if you're going to want to try and capture these guys, it's probably better to try and funnel them into a 2-width pattern. Basically, if you could have moved all of those guys there one space downwards, it would have been better, but this can work too. You basically want your units at the front wielding weapons that will not kill them in 2 hits. So, don't have Fergus hold a brave sword or Leaf hold a light sword or kill edge or something. Just keep them with weak weapons, and hopefully they won't get killed on the counterattack, and then you can capture them. I got quite lucky with Brighton here, and he managed to hit that guy with his relatively low hit rate on an axe versus a sword. Also, I didn't think about this earlier, but I also remembered that Crusader Scrolls nullify non-wrath criticals. So if you're going to have guys in the front, make sure they're at least holding 1 Crusader Scroll so they don't get crit by Shiva or by one of the other mercenaries that has a kill edge. Probably could have saved myself a lot of frustration if I remembered that fact. Ah, Fergus. Now he's really gonna get to show why he's so awesome now that he has a horse. Because horsemen can capture anyone. They're treated as if they have 20 build when capturing. This guy is gonna be allowing me to do all sorts of crazy stuff. I know I talked about this earlier, but the crit animations for dismounted knights and lords are really awesome in this game. All of them are great. I showed you another one in a previous video, but this one's pretty great too. I was concerned that Fergus might double and kill that guy with the silver sword, but thankfully he wasn't fast enough to double hit him, so I'm able to capture that guy and get a silver sword. It's going to be quite helpful. Powerful, not quite as good as the brave sword, but I can get more of them. Once Finn is clear of those 3 mountains there, immediately have him mount. On the next turn, move Safey past him, then move Finn up to her, capture her, and then you can use Finn to carry Safey all the way up to where the rest of your guys are, and use her to recruit Shiva. It's what I do, and I'm guessing it's what a lot of people do. Just moving Safey up on her own would take forever. This next enemy phase is going to be the moment of truth. Shiva is up and ready to attack my guys, and I need to make sure that he doesn't kill any of them. Holy crap, that was almost a perfect level up. That was a perfect level up. Holy cow, Leaf increased his movement. That's... wow, damn. That's gonna make this the first time I've had it happen, and I haven't had to restart the chapter. Awesome. In retrospect, sending Dawson up here for, I don't know, what must be the 3rd time in a row was a very, very, very stupid idea. I don't know why I kept doing that. I mean, what was I expecting to happen? But somehow it worked out this time, so whatever, I guess I can't complain. Oh, the conundrums of not having any free inventory spots to take something from an enemy you have captured. In this case, I end up having Karen discard one of her short lances. The next chapter, or next few chapters, don't really need her as much, and I'll be able to get a whole bunch of new lances in a chapter coming up. And if worse comes to worse, I can always buy an iron lance from a shop in the next chapter. These guys are going to be pursuing Hicks for a while, but thankfully Brighton and him can hold them off. Although, if you're going to do it this way, I would actually suggest giving a sword to Hicks and having them dismount. Doing this means that the rapiers won't be able to deal effective damage against them, and them being axe knights, the swords will have an increased chance to hit if they're still using their native weapon. It kind of baffles me how useful Continue in this game when it has a comparatively low activation chance. It wasn't like Genealogy of the Holy War, where it was your attack speed plus 20%. In this game, it's just your attack speed. So at this point in the game, it's usually about 10 or 12%. Probably less if he's holding a heavy weapon. It amazes me how useful it can be in a lot of circumstances. You may think that Karen is a poor choice to lure out Shiva, but it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Her lance means that he has a decreased chance to hit. She's really fast, so he won't double hit and get a huge critical hit bonus with his 4 PCC. And then in this situation, I can immediately bottleneck him with another unit, allowing Safety to go up and recruit him. Perfect. So now that I can basically just trap Shiva here, I'm shifting most of my attention up north to where the social knights are. I want to try and steal their rapiers because they're quite valuable. They can either be sold for a lot or they're useful just as a weapon, and Leafus can do the job just fine. As with most enemies in this game, these guys have basically no magic resistance, so feel free to peg these guys to death with Asphalt. Also, knights can't pass those 2 mountains there, so it's okay to have Asphalt standing in a place like this. In fact, you could probably just have him stand on top of the mountain because it gives a huge boost to defense and evade. And remember, as I've shown here, dismount your knights when you attack because then they can't use their rapiers to mess you up. Hicks doesn't have a sword, and Leafus has a full inventory, so I had to fluffle around a bit with the trading here in order to make sure that Leafus has a shot to take an item from the next turn. Basically, I sent Laura up there. She'll take away some of Leafus' stuff in the next turn, allowing me to take the rest of their guys' items. And in hindsight, moving Nana up there was a terrible idea. It was better for her to stay down there, where her charisma boost means that Shiva is less likely to hit Karen and kill her. Without their effective bonus, rapiers are pretty terrible. I mean, they're extremely weak. Their effective bonuses is basically the only thing going for them. Huh. I wonder why that Cavalier didn't use too much of his Canto. He only moved 1 space afterwards. I mean, this just means it's easier for me to take him out next turn. Ah. Any level up where Karen gets strength is a good level up by my standards. And there's one other thing that I could talk about in regards to changing this chapter by making Eisenhower not show up. One thing that'll happen, once you get one person to escape into Castle Mies, Hannibal shows up with a whole bunch of armors and they chase the Manster forces out of here. But if there are no Manster forces left, which are actually only going to be these 3 Cavaliers because I stopped the reinforcements, then Hannibal actually doesn't show up at all, so you miss that scene unfortunately. But all it takes is one guy to show up and Hannibal will appear. And once he does, any of the reinforcements from Eisenhower, as well as Eisenhower himself, will disappear. They'll run to the top of the chapter and escape themselves. And the funny thing about Hannibal, he was actually a unit you could recruit in Genealogy of the Holy War, and his stats in this game don't even reflect what he's like in that game. His stats in this chapter are actually pretty bad, and he has none of the skills that he has in Genealogy of the Holy War. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of discrepancies like that. Like I mentioned earlier about Nana having a really terrible strength growth for some reason. I mean, Hannibal in Genealogy of the Holy War had 60 HP, 20 strength, 22 defense, and overall good stats and everything, as well as the skills Ambush, Continue, and Great Shield. Basically, all you would have to do is look at his stats and skills and figure out, oh, this guy is an important general of Thracia. But in this game, he has none of the aforementioned skills, and really bad stats and everything. He's only got 14 strength and 16 defense. What was stopping the game from, kind of trying to more accurately reflect his stats? Yes, even with the 20 stat caps in this game. It really devalues him, I think, He doesn't really feel like an important guy that could give Manster a big deal when his stats just don't look that great. Well, they can't use their rapiers to hurt them, but their long lances will certainly hurt. Not the javelins, though. The javelins are no big either way. But the one cavalier there with the long lance, you might want to watch out for him. By the way, I had Karen de-equip her lance, or rather trade them away, because you can't really de-equip weapons in this game, in order to make sure that I didn't accidentally kill Shiva with a crit. Of course, he could do that right back to me, and I was very scared when he activated a movement star there, but thankfully it all worked out. And once I have Leafus with a free inventory slot, I can steal this guy's last rapier. Great. Now I've got 4 of them. In varying conditions due to their use, but still 4 of them. Man, why did it have to miss there? I mean, oh man, did that really have to happen? And did that really have to happen? Holy cow, if this guy hits me again with that long lance, Hicks is gonna die and I'm gonna restart this chapter. But since this is post-recording, I know that didn't happen, but still scared me when it did. I really needed to heal Karen here, just in case Shiva decided to activate another movement star and almost kill her. The first heal missed for some reason, but thankfully Karen activated a double heal, and the second one hit this time. Thracia 776 just has the weirdest mechanics. And in the next turn, Seifi will be able to recruit Shiva. First off, I didn't actually mean to put her on the mountain there. I flubbed up and forgot to hit up. And I was wondering whether Shiva would recruit himself if Seifi was around, but I didn't want to take the chance that he would end up just attacking her, so I'm going to play it safe and have her talk to him rather than the other way around. boy, thank goodness I didn't have to go through all that again. I nearly popped a blood vessel there. Although it also occurs to me that Shiva could also end my run at any time just by critting someone. And yes, I also forgot to give either Leaf or Karen a scroll so they wouldn't be crit. Man, I really gotta plan this stuff out in advance. Oh, you're... so we meet again. Why are you doing this? You're not a bad man. I'm just doing my job. It's of no concern to you. Now move. No. You're going to sacrifice your life for that kid? If that is the case, then so be it. Thracia needs Lord Leaf. I would gladly give my life to ensure that he arrives there safely. You say some pretty stupid things sometimes, don't you? Fine, have it your way. What? Then you're going to help Lord Leaf? Yeah, might as well, you know. But let me say this. Don't ever talk about death lightly in front of me. If there's one thing I hate, it's people rushing to get killed. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful. Can I ask you something? What is that you want? What would make you smile with your heart? I simply want to see the people living happily in peace. If they are smiling, then I will be as well. I see. Guess I shouldn't have asked. Anyway, my name is Shiva, from Savan. What's yours? Seifi, from Tara. And just like that, this nightmare of a chapter is pretty much over. I'm not dealing with any of those guys on the left because I don't really need to, so the rest of this chapter is just me getting all my guys down there. So I'm just going to speed this next portion up until the end, and then I'll talk about Shiva in the meanwhile. So, Shiva is a mercenary. He promotes to a sword master. He's a good unit. Not great like Fergus, but an overall good unit. He has decent stats, good growth rates, a good starting sword rank of B, and he has a great pursuit critical coefficient of 4. He also has the Sun Sword skill, later called Soul in other games. Using your skill as a percentage, if it activates, you restore your health by whatever amount of damage you deal to your enemies. There's really nothing that makes Shiva bad. He's just, kinda almost average, even though he's a good and better than average. That's all. Shiva is basically just lacking in something special about him. He doesn't have a horse, he doesn't have a PCC of 5, and he doesn't have a unique weapon. That's all. Oh, and sorry for skipping over this conversation, but if you want to read it, you're probably going to have to go to serenusforest.net. It's basically just Leaf telling Finn what he's about to do, and him saying that he'll support him all the way, though. By the way, that circular-looking building to the left of Makua, that's an arena. You can have units go there and fight pre-programmed enemies in order to gain experience. It's pretty heavily rigged in this game, though, so don't do it unless your guy is holding a Crusader scroll. You might end up facing someone with a kill edge or something. I will end up using it in the next few chapters or so, once I get a couple more Crusader scrolls, to try and catch some people up that start at low levels. You'll see. Anyway, I'll see you guys next with Chapter 8 of Thracia 776. Thanks for watching, and please leave a comment, rate, or subscribe. I hear you fled from Manster. What is the problem? Well, we were living on the East Coast, but we were arrested for the opposing the kidnapping. However, we were rescued by the rebels there and we escaped. You look quite resolved for one so young. What is your name? My name is Lou Ferris, General Hannibal. You look like him. What? I look like who? No, forget it. What do you intend to do from now? I'm planning on going to Tara. I have friends there. Are you going over the mountains? Yes, we are fugitives. We cannot go through Imperial territory. I see. Those mountains are home to bandits. Be careful. Thank you. Then will you release my allies? Ah, yes, of course. You there. Bring them here. Yes, sir. Lord Leaf, thanks for coming. Sorry I couldn't be of any use. Those bastards from Thracia, I'll kick their asses the next time I see them. Forgive me, Lord Leaf. I wasn't strong enough to help. Oh, and one more thing. Carry on. Escort them to the mountain. There is a massive brigand roundup going on right now. If they get mistaken for one of them, they might be killed. Yes, sir. You don't need to do that much for us. Please take me. I wish to go along with you. Well, if you insist. Yes, thank you, Hello. Oh, you're the boy we met in Kells. What are you doing here? Hannibal is my father. Here, please take this. It's a warp staff, a powerful magic item. Okay, thank you. The sun is setting. You should be on your way, Lou. Yes, thank you for everything, General Hannibal. I won't forget this.